So what if I told you that there's a single, simple principle that connects everything? I'm talking about the anxiety you feel from an unanswered text, a tiny garden that's been sealed in a glass bottle for over 60 years, and, well, the entire universe. It's an ancient idea, but it's more relevant now than ever. It's what we call the way of balance.
You know the feeling, right? Your phone buzzes. You glance down, and a single message, maybe it's a little vague, maybe it sounds a bit critical, suddenly sends your mind spinning. Your calm morning is just gone. And in its place is this internal storm of what-ifs and second-guessing. The message itself is just a few bytes of data, but the reaction? Oh, that feels huge.
You know, there's this incredible, ancient 16-character teaching in Chinese philosophy that starts right there, with that exact feeling. Ren Xin Wei Wei. It basically means that the human mind is naturally precarious, it's vulnerable, it's easily disturbed. Think of it like a perfectly still lake. It really doesn't take much to create ripples that just keep spreading.
And here's the key takeaway from that. The turmoil we feel, it isn't actually in the text message. It's generated by our own internal reaction, the story we start telling ourselves. The storm is all happening inside our own heads. But, and this is the important part, if our mind can create that storm, it also holds the secret to finding the calm within it.
This brings us to this beautiful core concept, Shou Zheng, which translates to holding the center. Now, this isn't about fighting the storm or pretending the waves of emotion aren't there. It's the art of finding an anchor, a quiet, unmoving point deep inside yourself, even when everything on the surface feels like chaos.
To really get a feel for this idea of an inner anchor, let's look at a stunning, real-world example of perfect self-sustaining balance. It's the amazing story of a garden sealed inside a bottle.
Okay, picture this. Back in 1960, a guy named David Latimer gets an idea. He takes this giant glass bottle, throws in some compost, a little water, and a small spider plant. Then, in 1972, he waters it one last time, sticks a cork in it, and just leaves it, completely sealed off from the rest of the world.
For more than half a century, that little plant hasn't just survived, it has thrived. It's a perfect, self-contained little world. It found its center, its own perfect balance, and it's been running itself ever since. It's like a tiny green miracle that proves, with the right conditions, life can just keep going.
So how on earth does it work? Well, it's this perfect four-part dance. Sunlight gives the plant energy to make its own food and oxygen. The plant and tiny bacteria use that oxygen and release carbon dioxide. When leaves die, the bacteria break them down, turning them back into food. And the water? It just evaporates, turns the condensation on the glass, and rains right back down. A perfect closed loop.
So from that amazing bottle, let's turn the journey inward. Because right now, your own body is an infinitely more complex, more dynamic version of that exact same principle. You are, literally, a walking, talking, self-sustaining ecosystem.
And what's so cool is how different traditions have been talking about this for centuries, just using different words. Western science calls it homeostasis, your body's incredible ability to keep everything stable on the inside through constant automatic little adjustments. Eastern philosophy calls it yin-yang self-harmony, where health comes from that dynamic balance of opposite forces. Two languages, one profound truth. And your body is doing this all the time, without you even thinking about it. I mean, your core temperature is locked in right around 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Your blood sugar is kept in this super tight range. The pH of your blood, it's so finely tuned that if it changes even a little bit, it's a major problem. These aren't just suggestions. Your body is fighting to keep these numbers stable for your survival.
But here's the danger. When we push our systems too hard for too long, we create something called pseudo-balance. Think about it. If your blood pressure is always high, your body eventually adapts. It might even start to feel normal. But underneath the surface, your heart and arteries are working overtime, and that causes hidden, long-term damage. The system is straining to hold the center, and eventually, something has to give.
Okay, now let's take this whole idea of balance and just zoom out, all the way out, to the scale of the entire universe, going back 13.8 billion years. Because what we find is that holding the center isn't just for plants and people, it's the secret recipe for existence itself. Just think about the forces at play right after the Big Bang. You had this incredible explosive energy pushing everything apart, and at the same time, the pull of gravity trying to suck it all back together. The balance between those two is, well, it's almost impossible to describe. The precision is accurate to 1 part in 10 to the power of 60. That's a 1 with 60 zeros after it.
If it were just a tiny bit weaker, the universe would have collapsed on itself. A tiny bit stronger, and everything would have flown apart so fast that no stars or galaxies could have ever formed.
And then there's this cosmic miracle born from a tiny mistake. In the early universe, matter and its opposite, antimatter, were created in almost equal amounts. But for every billion particles of antimatter, there were 1,000,000,001 particles of matter. That tiny leftover, that 1 in a billion rounding error, that's us. That's everything you can see. The whole universe is just what was left over after a near-perfect annihilation.
And if that's not enough, there's a mysterious number called the fine structure constant. It controls how atoms hold themselves together. It's about 1 over 137. Get this, if that number were just 1% different, the process that creates carbon inside stars wouldn't work. No carbon means no life as we know it. Our entire existence is balanced on a knife's edge.
So what does all this cosmic fine-tuning mean? Well, physicists have a name for it, the anthropic principle. It's basically the scientific observation that the fundamental rules of the universe seem to be perfectly, exquisitely tailored for one specific outcome, the existence of life that can look back and wonder about it all.
And what's absolutely wild is that this cutting-edge science sounds strangely familiar. It echoes another ancient teaching, Zhe Chong He, Tiandi Wei Yan, Wan Wu Yu Yan, which means when you achieve essential harmony, the universe finds its proper order and everything flourishes. It's like ancient wisdom and modern physics took two completely different paths to arrive at the exact same breathtaking conclusion.
So, we've traveled from a text message to the Big Bang and back. Let's bring this giant cosmic principle right back down to Earth. How do we actually practice holding the center in our own everyday lives?
Well, the good news is, it's not about following a bunch of strict rules. It's really about awareness. It's about making constant, tiny micro-adjustments. It means really listening to your body, resting when you're tired, moving when you feel energized. In your relationships, it's about finding that sweet spot between connection and your own solitude. It's about letting go of that all-or-nothing thinking and just aiming for a peaceful, sustainable middle way.
And this brings us to the final piece of that ancient teaching, Yunji Juezhong. This is the call to action. It means sincerely and firmly hold to that center. It's a powerful reminder that this balance isn't something that just happens to you. It's an active, conscious choice we get to make every single day.
When you think about it, from the smallest cell in your body to the biggest galaxy in the cosmos, everything is in this constant dance, always finding and holding its center. So the question this whole journey leaves us with is a personal one. The universe is doing its part. Are you?